now part 2 of Arbiters of the Law, and we continue where we left off last episode.
Alright, so we've looked at threat to life, abuse, and the impact of how the professionals act. But this can have obviously impacts on mental health. So according to a variety of reports, I've got a few stats here. 50% of all mental health problems are established by the age of 14, rising to 75% by the age of 24. Every 2 hours in 2017, someone in England and Wales took their own life. Suicide is the leading cause of death in men aged 15 to 49 years, and women are up to 3 times more likely to experience a mental health problem than men. Now, that's general mental health, but the abuse, the threats, everything you see, what impact can that have on a referee?
Well, as those stats said, it could be the worst thing that could happen to somebody, and it can take them that far. And I think managers, fans, players need to realise that words can have lasting consequences on people. And I think, like you said, Alex, in some ways, if somebody can then, even if it's a text or something after the game later and said, you know what, I went too far and apologise, would go a long way. And I don't think there's enough of that happens.
And in the same vein, compliments.
Yeah.
I've received 2 compliments this season, and I don't think I've ever really had that in... You could go seasons without that. And it's just to say, yeah, you did a good job. One manager won, one manager lost. And even then, you think, oh, actually, yeah, no, I did have a good game. Like I said, it's always so negative. And again, the professional game is all these highlights and slow-mos and camera angles, and it's all spun round. You go, how's the referee missed that? Well, sorry, match of the day, but you've watched it 37 times, and that person's had to react to
a split-second
decision. Yeah. So cut him some slack. And when they do make the decisions right, it's, oh, he's just got that one right. No, it's a paid professional, and these people are moving at speed, and he's got it bang on. Why can't we say he's done a good job? It always has to be like a backhanded compliment.
I mean, for refs, again, like I said, with the compliments, Bradley refed an under-12...
Under-13 game.
And the under-13's opposition manager said it was the best ref they'd had all season. The home manager said, well, he got a few decisions wrong today.
We took the away refs, the away managers' performance indicator on that game.
But like you said, I think I hope I've not ever gone across the line with referees, but I've certainly shouted at them and argued decisions. But most refs at the end of the games, I certainly game on ref on Sundays, just went over, said good game, I thought you refed it really well. I think you have to compliment, and again, I think if I have contacts, we will try to get hold of refs and say even a thank you. Sometimes thank you. And sort of with the underline girls and with our lot, we make sure you go and say, one of the first things we say after the game, go and thank the ref. It's highly important. And for people to have, suffer with depression, suffer with and that affects it, is just wrong.
Positive reinforcement is a great help, isn't it?
It certainly is, and I think it's something that needs to be encouraged more. Bizarre. I was going to go back to a thing, what you were saying with the game you had, Alex, where you thought to the opposite, they scored you low for a game for your decisions, and where you had to put the 2 managers. So you'd have put in a report up, well, I presume if a report goes in saying their behaviour was unacceptable, because I think when we do it, you fill out a report saying was behaviour acceptable, blah blah blah, and we have to do, which again I'm never convinced about this, is you score the ref, and if it goes below 60, it goes into it as a report.
Yeah, but it goes in a report, and it's only dealt with. It's only received as a learning opportunity. It's not the league don't accept it in as a complaint. They take it in as a learning opportunity for the ref. They're never taken in as a complaint.
Right. So I was going to say, with the game like Alex did, where he booked both the manager and the assistant manager, not knowing if they did or not, but I would assume they scored you quite low that game.
I would assume so, yeah.
And then, so again, where the FA, if that happens, and they must know, like, they've scored, I don't know, I was 60, scored you 20, or something, whatever it is. The FA, and granted that, you know, a lot of the times it's part-time and volunteers with them, should get on the phone, I believe, to the ref and say, right, it looks like you might have had a tough game this weekend. How are you? What's your feelings after that? And I take it you don't ever get that at any point from any...
No, none at all. So, Saturday league that I've been refereeing in had that issue. It was down in Clevedon, and the next I sent this message in, explained what happened, said I'd put the report in through whole game. The next week the fixtures came out, same team. And I contacted the referee secretary and went, no, I think we need a cooling off period before I'm allocated to them again. Oh, I forgot. All right, I'll move you. No, there was no, almost like a welfare check to say what happened. Like, what was it decision that caused it? What was the flare up? Who was it with? No, it was just, oh yeah, there you are again. And I know full well, having done it before, you turn up at that game with that team the next week and you are judged instantly. Any decision that goes against that team, they're on you. And it puts you in a bad place and you just don't want to be there. So
I'm going to move on to social media. Bobby Madley and Michael Oliver, both Premier League referees, both been threatened on social media. Oliver was actually offered police protection. And it's not just football. Wayne Barnes, one of the world's best rugby union referees, was quitting recently due to social media abuse of him and his family. I mean, what do you think that has? What sort of impact can that have? Can it have an effect at grassroots? I mean, are you on social media at all? And have you ever been targeted? I'm
not. Well, I am on social media, but I don't do anything other than people falling over and funny dog videos. But it's just how quickly it can be shared and how it can be misinterpreted. So I do remember just after Mike Dean retired, obviously he's quite the comedian and the way in the way he referees, but he gave an advantage. I think it was at Old Trafford, and Tottenham scored, and he ran off with his arms out for the advantage, and he's pointing back towards, and it's going, oh, Mike Dean celebrates a Tottenham goal. I was like, no, he didn't. He's really pleased with himself. Something I don't know about you, Brad, but when you give an advantage and it leads to a goal, I think, yes, I got that one right, and I let that go. Fantastic. But yeah, it's just how quickly it all moves up, and we never get the full incident because something kicks off and then somebody goes, oh, get me camera out and I'm going to film this, and you don't see what's happened. You just see 12 people fighting, and then it gets shared, and the clubs obviously weigh in and they start arguing with each other. I did see a few tweets from a Toolstation team local to here, and it was obviously like the timestamp, and they go, oh, and the referee's made another poor decision, and it's like, because it was against you, or was it wrong? Mm-hmm. Or does that need to be tweeted out? Like,
no, it doesn't.
I saw one club, and I can't remember the exact step they're in, but it was, two divisions below the National League, and they were basically calling the referee a cheat on their tweets. Two divisions below the National League, and obviously the decisions weren't going their way, but you know, at that level, you know, they've got fully qualified referee and two assistants, and they're just blatantly calling them cheats.
And that's at that level. And
like, what are you doing?
And there's two divisions below them, and so it's that. But again, players there. They will have grassroots teams. They'll have youth teams who will go up. And they're saying, well, hang on, if our club says it's okay to call the ref a cheat, we'll go into the Sunday morning and we'll do the same there. I've just said, I actually go and criticise what the FA does. We got whether you got the email as well with the refs that next week there is a wellbeings course done by the Somerset F. And I must have after after this chat, we will be doing that next Wednesday, man. So we'll be going on there and having a look at that.
In the Chris Barker's wellbeing.
Mindfulness or something for refs. So the FA are trying things. I just think they need to go a bit further on a individual basis, but that digresses from that point.
Well, actually, no, it leads on quite nicely. So on to my next point. So couple of things. The FA say there are roughly 28,000 referees who register every year, with 4,000 more who start their journey, although they aim for 6,000. Recently, however, the Kent FA reported a reduction of 25% of their match officials. North Riding FA stated that re-registration of referees was down 31%. And in the 2018-19 season, the Cheshire FA reported that 30% of improper conduct charges levied were a result of abuse directed towards an under-18 referee. Although referees under the age of 18 will only referee underage football, the level of abuse they receive from coaches and parents on the touchline has led to trouble with retention rates. Many give up within the first 3 years of their refereeing career. And my first team, I'll talk my very first team, that's 1994 to 2003. We used to play from under 12s onwards in the afternoon. So now it's under 15s and 16s only play in the afternoon. But back then, under 12s onwards were in the afternoon. So 1998 this was, we were under 12s. And there were at least a good 40 referees in the handbook to call upon. Now it's just under 15s and 16s in the afternoon, and there's a maximum of 12 referees. I mean, what can be done to arrest the drop in numbers? Again, from the course that Bradley did, and there's one lad on there who's in your team, in the under-15s, is a big lad, quite a confident, outgoing lad, has not done one game since doing the course because he's not got the confidence to do it. I am assuming he hasn't said that he's scared he's going to get abuse. And he's not done one yet. And he's a confident lad. But needs support perhaps from the FA or whatever.
We're trying to gradually get him into it. But I think once and that's a shame. It's like we said, it's got to be positive reinforcement with it. It's like you said, you're turning up on a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Saturday, giving up your time, right? And it's, at grassroots level, it's pocket money really. You're turning up, and it's for Bradley and stuff at the moment. He's quite happy with what he's earning. He's earning himself £20-40 a weekend, and that's like. But I think when it gets to Alex and stuff like that, it's to sacrifice your your Sundays and what you're doing. People will go, it's not worth it. I think the punishments need to be harder, and if referees were seeing that again from the high, I think, like you were saying with Mitrovic and Fernandez, how Fernandez got nothing is a disgrace. They've not said Mitrovic. It should have been on the Monday. The FA should have said last 10 matches. Simple as 10 matches. Your fine is in that 10, whatever it is, bag. And that needs to be followed through. I think with clubs, like I said, there was an incident which we've talked about in the previous podcast where they stopped all football for all under 16s this season due to an incident.
I will come to that actually.
So there has to be tougher decisions, and I think with refereeing, all you hear is again. You can go about what's on the tally with the pundits. How many pundits do you hear say refereed that well? It's few and far between. It's almost looked upon as, and crowds and stuff. It's just to give the referees an idiot. The referees this, the referees that. Or the only reason you're refereeing is you're not good at football. It's almost looked upon by a lot of people as the negative person. The referee's there to spoil the game, and there's nothing further from the truth. The referee is there, so there is a game.
Yeah.
And to get numbers up, people got to be more positive. There's got to be more positive feedback about referees and people. And I know the negative stuff gets the headlines, unfortunately. But you're not going to encourage people if all you hear about is negativity about it.
Yeah. Alex?
Yeah, it's I say
over your time, you must see the more less and less referees around you recognise.
Yeah, I remember a time where we had to take weekends out because there weren't enough games.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but again, go back to my previous teams, the second team, and I regularly see three surnames on the list of referees. Now there's one, which is yours.
It is.
It used to be 3 of you doing it every week.
Yeah.
So straight away there.
Yeah, my brother packed it in because of abuse. So I think there's only 5 of us for Sunday afternoon this week. So there's 2 or 4 of those are semi-finals. So no assistants. Yeah, I'd say remember the blissful time where you could have a weekend off every now and again because all the games were covered. I've been allocated a game this weekend and I've received 3 separate text messages saying, if it's off, can you let us know and come and do our game? I finished the game the other Sunday morning and the afternoon manager turned up and said, can you do my game this afternoon? It's desperate, it said, because you want somebody who is impartial and will just give it as they see it, but because of what goes on, those people go, no, I'll go and watch. I did go watch football that afternoon rather than referee a game. So yeah, it's rubbish, and it's the strain on us then because it's not been the best of weather. When we come to night matches, I filled out the availability for the Avon Youth League, and it is literally every evening from now until May.
How much it is, eh?
And yeah, it's going to be chaos. And if teams don't get referees, they'll come call in and say, can you come and do our game? Can you come and do our game? If we move the time, can you do this? Can you do that? Yeah, it's crazy. It's nice to be in demand, but also it'd be nice to know every game's covered.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Bradley and Coyne, we could get into a league thing on that. But are you seeing generally refs coming through, or is it not? They start.
No, so obviously the courses are always full up, and it's great that kids that are Brad's age are doing it because we do need younger refs. But I think we genuinely might be at a point where we need to switch who plays what times again, because you can't. The drop off from 15s to 16s when I played, I did stop playing at 14. So the divisions shrink, and you normally get to under 16s. There's like 3 or something divisions. But because the standard of kids football now is so much better through every division, I remember a time you think, oh, Division 5, this is going to be in the air all the time. And they're playing good football. And these kids are going to play for longer. So when the under 14s at the moment go into afternoons next year, there's 6 divisions of 10 teams.
So at least 5. At least.
You may see a referee once a season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
That is true. I mean,
Right.
I don't know what you do about it. I mean, I thought as well.
Well, unless, like you said, a change of times, and the only other change of times is perhaps to consider: do you then move one age group again, an afternoon age group, to a lunchtime? 15s perhaps to a 12:30 kickoff or a 12 o'clock kickoff or something like that to get that in a possibility. I'm going to move this on a bit because I'm conscious of the time. It's on the first page here. There's a second page here with ages.
Let's do a second one.
Parents, I look at the impact of parents just very quickly. So the Merseyside Youth League, we referred to it earlier, which recently cancelled a weekend round of fixtures, did so not in response to players, but rather multiple incidents of inappropriate and threatening behaviour from those watching on the sidelines. So I thought it was actually about the players giving refs abuse. It was actually the parents. So again, I'll come to Alex. What impact? What anecdotes for parents?
Where to start?
And I'm conscious of the time as well.
Yeah, I think again the most recent one was Clevedon. Challenge made by the away team, won the ball, and then because of the angle they were at, the home player fell on to the person who made the tackle. Nothing there. It's just a drop ball because both players are hurt. And onto the pitch he strides, pointing and gesturing, and it's like, right, so I said, so I'm going to ask you to leave the area of the pitch because you shouldn't have come onto the field. Under what reasoning, I can't remember what word he used, are you asking me to leave? I said, well, you've entered the field of play, you're not first aid, you're not coach or anything like that, so I've got grounds to abandon the game. I said, or we can sort of meet in the middle with a bit of common sense and you leave and we'll just finish the game. I'm not going. Right, I am then. And then the manager's, oh no, don't just like go, Dave, like just clear off because we want to finish it because they were winning. So he went and then the same, walking back to the car and he's just stood there shaking his head at me. And of course we just get to that point and we're like, oh, hello, like nice to see you again. But it happens. Children get injured, children get hurt, and it is not nice to see. Thank touch wood, I've never had a serious injury in all the time I've refereed. But there has to be a disconnect that if it was Bradley that got injured, you let the person who is there to deal with it, deal with it. I always played in goal and I chucked myself around, and if my mum was watching, she wouldn't come onto the pitch because she knew it was the manager or the first aider, they would come and deal with it unless it was something serious and the game was stopped. But it's that, oh no, our little Johnny, I'm going to go on it. No, don't come onto the pitch because then that's a whole different issue, and people won't accept that they're wrong. It's their right. I'll come on and do this. And it's like, no, this is my pitch now. Please respect it. And we can ask managers to go and deal with awkward parents, but managers find that awkward, especially if the kid's the best player. I don't want to go and speak to his dad because he might take him and do this, but actually he's being an idiot and he needs to be told that he's being an idiot, and it's not for me to go and deal with him, it's for you to go and deal with him. Obviously in the Avon Youth League where coaches one side, parents the other side, I was doing a cup semi-final where I had a barrier around the whole pitch and parents were stood everywhere, and the away manager came to me and said, can you ask the home manager to move their parents all to the other side? And I said, yeah, sure. And he went, why? Because it's all barred off, it doesn't matter. So, but we have coaches one side and we have parents the other side. We don't have people behind the goal nets. This is how we are. I always remember one team, they don't exist anymore, but they always had 4 coaches and they had one on each side in each half. And it was everything from everywhere. And the kids were robots because they couldn't make a decision by themselves. When you did get them all in the same place, they were clueless. But yeah, parents need to take a step back. They also need to let the managers do their own job. By the times I've heard it, no, do this, do that. Well, no, that's not what they've practiced, and you weren't there in training, and that frustrates me even as the referee, let alone the manager. So yeah, it's just go along, watch, enjoy, but don't get involved.
No. All I was going to say, and again, I think it affects people weirdly, football. You've got the nicest people I've seen. Monday to Saturday, Sunday afternoons, they go and watch little Johnny play an under-10s game, and they become these nutters that just can't control themselves. It is most bizarre. And obviously, in the rules now, you've got that little bit of rope that's stopping them going onto the pitch. I mean, to be honest, it isn't going to stop them. But parents do have to realise. I think there was again a story on Grassroots that there was this one parent, he was given this abuse, saying all that. A young child said Bradley was rubbish on the pitch. Everything you're getting is wrong. You're useless. Blah blah blah. And the bloke said, "You know that you're having a go there. That's my kid. If I was doing it to who was playing, how would you?" And he was having a go at the child. Was this other parent it was the ref, and he was just constantly abusing him. But he said he wouldn't dream of doing it to one of the players. Well, why do it to a young? It baffles me. Refs will make these errors. I'm sure Bradley, Corey, will make decisions that are clearly wrong. But you've got to say, like you said, with the young keeper will let one through the legs. A striker will miss from a yard out. It'll go blazing over. They won't face the same abuse as a referee missing a handball. Or missing the more and more you realise, and the more you do and learn, I think going back, you probably are embarrassed about some, certainly how I've gone home from games and that was the ref's fault, we lost it. And like you said, we probably lost 6-0. Actually, probably wasn't the ref's fault when you think about it. We've done something wrong at X, Y, Z. And they were just better than us. But the referee is the easy excuse out.
Yeah.
Especially in tight games and things. And for the parents, it is definitely, if it's their son who's gone in for a 50-50. I mean, I've seen cases where a child's gone in, done a foul or something, and the parent has, given a bit, and it's not. You've got to accept it. And clubs there have to be more firm. I think you're right. There are certain things that he's our best player. If we go and speak to him, I think clubs have got to be said. Look, right, here's your warning. That's not acceptable. Next time you do that, you don't come down, and take it from there, because clubs will get that reputation of, it's like I've said, there are certain clubs he will not referee, and once he's 16, 18 he can make his own decisions, but till then, not a chance.
Yeah. Move it on, rather than parents, to referees. Going back to the incident I had where I was, for a better word, attacked, the person I was talking to was a referee who was playing. I'm a referee, I do this, you should be doing this, and he'd given me grief all through the game. I'm a referee, you should do this. I'm a referee, you should do this. I'm a referee, you should do that. So, referees who play in the game that you're refereeing, and I'll come to Bradley first as a referee who plays in the game. What's your experience now? Because obviously, as you said, the game last Sunday, for instance, as soon as that player handballed it, what was your response?
I was like, you got to send them off. You got to send them off. Like probably in Corey and Jacob's head, it's like, you got to send them off. We're referees, and you know that if he's obviously made a tackle or obviously in that case handballed it off the line, it's a straight red.
Since you've done the course, how many times have you said to the referee or mumbled to the referee, that's a yellow card, that's a red card, that's offside?
Never.
Apart from that game?
Apart from that game, yeah.
Because I know, standing on the pitch, listening to Jacob, he's giving it all the time. And that's a yellow card. That's a free kick. That's it.
Corey certainly is. But Bradley's, I must admit, he's very calm. Yeah. Corey's, he's the same. And it is, you think, especially at the moment, they know what the things are. But I also think what they have learnt, Bradley, Jacob and Corey, is the respect to referees now. I don't think they would be in a referee's face. I don't think they would be given abuse to a referee. It's the classic, yes, I'm a ref and I know the rules and blah, but hopefully that they've got again, respect is such a big word.
Yeah.
And hopefully one of the things for them, I think potentially it could be something the FA could, it costs too much money, is referees come into, I don't know, say Fry's at Summerdale and have a course at the beginning of the season twice and say, look, this is what we expect, and have that understanding and have a chat with them, because there has to be respect. You have to respect that referee every game. And Bradley, Corey, Jacob, yeah, they might think, oh, you got that decision wrong and blah, blah, blah. But I think they have learned respect for referees from going on the referees course themselves.
I'll come to you, Alex. How have you found the referees who play in the game that you're refereeing?
Speaking as a referee who did go back to playing, it was by far the worst decision I've ever made in my life. Because I play in goal and I'm always away from an incident, and I'm just talking to myself, well, that was wrong. That wasn't there for it. That should have been a free kick. That was a corner. I never shouted and I never got involved, and I'd always be the first one to stop somebody doing it. Jekyll and Hyde, on the other hand, my brother, was a nightmare. You got to do this, you got to do that, this and that, and then it's like, but you're not refereeing the game, so stop. And I sent him off once. I was refereeing the game. He was playing up on the downs. He texted me and said, referee, we haven't got one, can you come and do it? Sure. And the way he reacted, he squared up to somebody, or shoved somebody, and I booked him. And I booked the other bloke. And then he gave it all the mouth, and I said to him, you would not allow somebody to speak to you like that, so don't speak to me like that. So I sent him off. And we travelled there in the same car, and he walked home from the Downs to Whitchurch. He refused to get in the car with me, so I was like, fine, see you at home. And he's a nightmare. On the flip side, coaching as a referee, fantastic, because obviously the law changes come in, and when I was coaching with kids, it said, these are the changes, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. And those first few weeks of the season, we were way ahead because we knew what the referee was going to do and the changes that had been made and what we could get away with. Great. But yeah, I'm playing this Sunday actually, and I'm really not looking forward to it. Because it's just hard. It's hard. So everyone on that pitch and everyone on the sideline is stood in a different position to the referee, so we all see something slightly different. Everyone stood down that line sees something slightly different than the person to their left. So it's just biting your tongue and going, I wouldn't appreciate being spoken to like that, so I'm not going to speak to the referee who's refereeing the game like that. So
no. Okay, move on to two more points on our covers. A few more, but we'll gloss over those. Sin bins. So, a sin bin is for dissent by word or by action, which is a behavioural matter rather than a form matter. Lasts 8 minutes in youth football, 10 in adult, and the referee will signal this by issuing a yellow card in the normal way and pointing to the touchline where the player must go. 2 sin bins in a match, and that player cannot come back on, but they can be substituted. Add in a yellow card for non-dissent, as in a foul, and they cannot be substituted, and the team are down to 10 players. So, there are enough people aware of it, there are enough referees aware of it, and are they effective, and have you used them, have experienced them?
I have used it. Are people aware of it? No. Do enough referees use it? No. But it's the same. What is dissent? Now, what is dissent to me could be different to what is dissent to Bradley. My brother's version of dissent is extreme, and which again is why I set him off that time, because he is that is dissent, and that I'm a bit more relaxed about it and allow a bit of emotion in the game. But you do get to a point where it's like, okay, you're going off, you're going to cool off for 8 minutes. And as soon as you do it, have you sent him off? Why have you sent him off? No, I've not sent him off. He's in the sin bin. Well, how long's that? Why is he in there? You didn't put him in the sin bin because that was a foul tackle. This is dissent. What's the difference? Okay, right. So if we're going to play a board game now, somebody's going to read the rules. All right. So why are you playing football if you don't know what the rules are? Well, it's your job. All right. So don't question me, and we'll just get on with it. And then it's, how long's he in there for? 8 minutes of play. Okay, so then we'll start rolling around and running the clock down. That's 8 minutes. No, it's been 4 because you've all been wasting time, and I've added it on so that when the match play stops, the sin bin stops. Oh, well, that's just rubbish. Well, I didn't make this up. I'm just enforcing what it is.
Yeah.
It would be nice if it was used more often. I did manage a ladies' game, last season. We were playing Forest Green in the County Cup, and we were 2-1 down. And the referee said to me afterwards, "Oh, I should have put your centre midfielder in the sin bin, but I cautioned her for unsporting behaviour instead." And we won the game on penalties. And it was like, "We should put her in the sin bin." That's what the response was, put her in the sin bin. We won the game because she stayed on the pitch, because the referee made a judgment call, which was wrong. Or maybe he said that I didn't want to ruin the game of football. But if it's dissent, bin them.
Yeah. We've got 5 minutes to go, so we'll cover the last one, which is respect. Now, we have discussed this on both the first 2 podcasts, so as this is about referees, let's look at it here. So, 5 things. There'll be a base of registered referees in England sufficient for the demands of the game at every level. Well, we've already shown that's not the case. There'll be 0 tolerance for assaults on referees.
No.
More than happy with that, but no. There'll be an improvement in on-field player discipline, particularly in the area of dissent to referees and in competitions that have an established record of poor discipline. Well, if that was the case, why did the Simmons have to come in following this? There will be a step change in youth football on what is acceptable and unacceptable behaviour from parents and spectators. Well, that's hence. Well, then if that was the case, why did they have to bring that Liverpool ban the weekend in? And we will work with coaches to create an enjoyable learning environment for children's football. Well, I think these few little pithy comments we made as I was reading it out prove that respect, which came in about 10 years ago, I think, hasn't worked yet. So, going to Bradley first. Any thoughts on respect and where we are with it in terms of respect for referees and just the tolerance for referees?
Well, obviously refereeing for not that long and not like high age groups, it really hasn't been a problem for me. All players have gave me respect. Like, they can have their quiet word to their mates who may be on the other team about me, and like, if it's not towards me and I can't hear it, it's okay. Like last Saturday, it's like I heard one of them say, he's just giving decisions, this and that. I looked at him and he was like, "You're right?" It's like, he knows I've heard it, and he's like, "Okay, I feel like I've done something wrong here." So I've just let it go. But then, like, if he did it again, I'll probably tell him, "Stop." You can say after the game to your mates, not on the pitch where it's my field of play, but off the pitch.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think it's said, like Brad has said, for his age, it is learning. The children have got to learn, and coaches have got to learn from a young age. So the under 7s to the under 12s, it's more, if they show anything like that, a coach has to go, right, tell you what, little Johnny, whatever his name, poor Johnny's getting so much thing, but you cannot do that. And coaches have got to almost pull them off and say, even if it's 5-10 minutes, as a mini version of the sin bin as a coach, and say, like, you cannot give refs, you cannot tell the ref he's got something wrong. You might disagree with it, but you know, you have to, it is that respect word. He's there, or she's there in today's world, because obviously female refs and that getting more and more involved in the game, and one of the best refs we had is a female ref this season, apart from Alex over there himself. But yeah, she was, but you hear that refs get, you know, the females, and that's, it's teaching people. Football again is a wonderful thing to learn children football skills, but social skills, how you give everybody around you respect. And that has to come from the age groups that Bradley is. So by the time they get to the under 13s, under 14s, under 15s, it's ingrained in them. Unfortunately, at the moment, with where it is, it probably isn't. A lot of that is influenced by internationals that are on now and Premier League and outside factors. So the respect thing hasn't worked at the moment. It has, in my opinion, come from higher up. I think certainly for dissent towards refs, the bans should be higher. Players should get a lot more, and then that will hopefully trickle down to grassroots. And again, fans, the parents and everybody, there is, in most cases, 95% of people have that respect. You can guarantee, unfortunately, you do get the odd idiot, and that it is getting worse. But like I said, I think most people do respect. It's just education and learning this respect for referees. Otherwise, like we've said, if there isn't any, it's going down and down. Eventually,
We'll have no referees.
there will be no refs, and when there's no refs, there is no game.
Yeah. And finally, to close up this podcast, I'll come to Alex on respect. What he thinks.
Yeah, it's similar to dissent, isn't it? It's people think they're being respectful and they're not, or in my view, what I would expect to see as respect is it's not there. And again, it's that demand and that will and want to win overrides everything. And yeah, the one of the managers the other week said, you want a really hard fair game, and then in the clubhouse we just forget about it. No, there has to be a limit to what we accept and what we want to see, because as I said, at the end of the day, I give up my weekend and I just want to watch a game of football. People don't realise that we only get involved when you do something wrong. I don't blow the whistle for the fun of my health, and then it's off the back of that again, people just don't realise what they're doing. They cross the white line and the red mist descends, and yeah, it's not where it should be. It's better in some incidences, and some clubs are better than others in how they manage that. But yeah, the FA's got a bit of work to do.
Okay. And on that note, I think we'll close it there. Alex, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Buddy, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mark, as always, thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
And on the note, listeners, hope you enjoyed it. It's me, Andy, signing off. Good night.
You can email us your questions, comments and random thoughts at greengreengrassroots@gmail.com, and please like and subscribe via your podcast providers. You've been listening to a We Haven't Got a Clue What We're Doing production, produced and edited by Andy Glover.